Graph f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 2. Looking at this equation, since it's a quadratic, that means the highest power on the variable is a 2. You expect the graph to look like a parabola. Quadratic equations produce parabolas. And parabolas have vertices. So we need to find the vertex of the parabola. This is the formula for the vertex of the parabola. Notice it requires that we identify the a and the b. So the a is the number in front of x to the second, which is a positive 1. And the b is the number in front of x to the first, which is a negative 4. Plug this a and b into this formula, and this is what it looks like. Simplify, and you get an x equal 2. So that's the x coordinate of the vertex. To find its y partner, plug it in back into the equation, plug this x back into the equation, simplify, and you get y equal negative 2. Remember, y and f of x are the same thing. So now we know the coordinates of the vertex. If we were to graph at this point, this is how much we would be able to graph. Notice this is 2, comma, negative 2. And it's opening up, and that's because the a was positive. When the a is positive, a number in front of x to the second, the parabola opens up. If it would have been a negative number here in front of the square term, the parabola would have opened downward. So it's beginning to look like a good parabola, but we know that these branches are going to intersect the x-axis, and we need to know where they do that. So we're going to need the x-intercepts, and also this branch is going to cut through the y-axis, so we need the y-intercept to get a better graph. So looking at the graph, we expect 2 x-intercepts and 1 y-intercept. So let's look for the x-intercept. We do that by setting y equal to 0. So the y becomes a 0. Remember, this was the f of x. It means the same thing. And then solve for x. If you try to factor this, which will be the first plan A, you'll see that it's very difficult to factor this equation. So instead, we're going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula to solve. So we need the quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula. And it requires that we identify the a, b, and c. So identify these first. The a is the number in front of x to the second. The b is the number in front of x to the first. And the c is the one that doesn't have any variables. So you plug these numbers in here and simplify. So when you simplify, notice it says plus minus. That means we need to work this out once with the plus and then work it out again with the minus. It's going to give us 2 x's, which are the 2 x-intercepts. So you key this into the calculator, and you get x equal 3.4 and x equal 0.6. So now we know that the parabola is going through the x-axis at x equals 0.6 and through x equals 3.4. Notice it's headed towards the y-axis, so I need the x-intercept. I need to find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, you use the equation again, but this time you let the x equal 0. For y-intercepts, you let the x equal 0. You plug in the zeros, simplify, and you get a y equal 2. That's the y-intercept. Now, if you put it all together, you put the vertex, the 2 x-intercepts, and the y-intercept into the picture, we get a better picture. It looks like this. Then remember that the vertex, from the vertex, you could read 2 pieces of information. The x part, x equal 2, is the equation for the line of symmetry. And this negative 2, which is y equal negative 2, that's the minimum y value.